Morning YouTube, it's Cello Ben. It's 6 a.m. and it's time for me to show you what a day in the life of a professional cellist looks like. Let's go.
Okay, first things first, coffee. I start every day with either coffee or tea, and that helps me wake up and get ready for a great morning. Then, time to head over to my trusty couch for a little me time to do the New York Times crossword puzzle. Today's a Friday, so the expectation is that it'll be the second hardest of the week, but most of today's ended up easier than average in my opinion. I thought I was going to set a speed record, but then I got stuck in the northeast corner of the puzzle for a while. Oh well, at least I solved it eventually. Now, the sun is starting to rise over Jacksonville, so that tells me it's time to finish getting ready. Perfect. Alright, time to warm up. Now, I love my apartment, but it's pretty tiny. But the good news is, it's got a giant walk-in closet, so that's what I've ended up using as my practice room. So let's head in there, and I'm gonna do my scales. And of course, I'm using a practice mute for my whole morning session because, well, I've got neighbors, and I don't want to disturb them when it's this early. Now, let's take a look at Bruckner's Fifth Symphony, which I'm performing tonight with the Jacksonville Symphony. It's going to be a lot of fun, but it is a big piece, and I've got to keep working on it. It's kind of like making a risotto. You got to just keep heading over to the stove and checking on it, giving it a little stir, make sure everything's coming together okay, and staying in good shape. This piece, especially in this final movement, has a lot of really extreme chromaticism, so it's important to start out just going really slowly whenever you first touch it that day, so that you can just get that stuff back under your fingers and make sure everything is feeling good. After my warm-up, even though I wasn't really hungry for breakfast, I figured I probably ought to eat a little bit of something, because after all, I was about to go in and do a dress rehearsal of a symphony that's more than an hour long. So I got in touch with my inner minion and had myself a banana. Not only are they somewhat tasty, but they're very nutritious. Speaking of which, Potassium Squad, show yourselves in the comments and make your presence known. Alright, let's go to work. I'm happy to say that my work is a very short drive from my place, but I still leave with quite a lot of time, just as a buffer, and also because I like to get there early so that I can warm up and settle in. So, my chariot awaits. And just like that, my car is parked. Let's go backstage, and I'm sorry you're having to see so much of my shoes today. I think Steve Madden really should pay me for this, but oh well. First thing I do when I get to work every day is I check the folder shelf. This is where our wonderful librarians put the repertoire that we need to learn. We get it quite a bit in advance so that we have plenty of time to prepare what we need. And it's important to stay vigilant about always checking to make sure there's nothing new for you to take home. Luckily, it looks like today there isn't anything, so I'm all caught up in that I have everything I need back at my apartment. Once I've made a quick stop at my locker to put my case down, I head over to the stage in this gorgeous hall that I'm so lucky to have as my office, to make sure that I have everything I need on my stand, like a pencil, earplugs, and all of that. Now, first order of business before I actually take the cello out, we had some bowing changes yesterday. So I want to make sure that I have everything clearly marked, so that I can be in sync with the rest of the section. The brackets mean down bow or bow to the right, and the carets up bow or bow to the left. After this, time to take the cello out and get warmed up again. Now, I definitely can't film a rehearsal, So instead of footage, I'm going to show you a slideshow of my girlfriend's wonderful corgi, and I hope that you find that to be an adequate substitute while I tell you a little bit about what a dress rehearsal is like. Basically, the goal of a dress rehearsal is to simulate a performance, but with the added benefit of being able to address issues that crop up. In our case, we started by working through a few passages and listening to some balance notes that the conductor had for us, and then we ran through each movement of the symphony, working on little things after each one. The expectation in a dress rehearsal is that we won't go all out, because we want to save some energy for the concert, but we of course still did play with conviction. We got out about 20 minutes early, which means 20 minutes of bonus rest before the big concert tonight. Let's go home. After I got back home, I set to work doing a little bit of voiceover recording and video editing for the day in the life of a professional cellist video that I'm working on. How meta is that? And then, I've been feeling a little bit shaggy lately, so I went and I got myself a haircut. I think they did a great job, and it didn't hurt that it was a beautiful day outside too. Next up, time to go to the store to get some lunch fixings. Plus, I'm having a hang tonight with some friends, so I need to pick up some snackies. First up, some spinach and some extra firm tofu for my lunch. Then, I went over to the sauces aisle to see if there's anything I wanted to use to cook the tofu, and a lot of that stuff looked really good, but seeing those price tags, I decided to make do with the teriyaki sauce that I have in my fridge. Let's get going. I'll cube up the tofu, and I'll get some olive oil nice and hot in a stainless steel pan, and we'll just pan fry those. Throw in some of that teriyaki sauce for deglazing and for flavor, and some peanuts. And then we'll wilt the spinach on the other side of the pan. When everything's nicely cooked, all you gotta do is put it in a bowl and boom, you got lunch. Now, I'm gonna enjoy a little bit of R&R, rest and relaxation. After tidying up my kitchen a little bit and watching some John Oliver, I headed back to the practice room. This time though, I'm taking a look ahead at the music for next week, specifically the largest scale work that we're doing that week, which, even though it's large, is something that I've both done many times and done very recently. So the good news is that I know it quite well, but of course it's still important to spot check. So that's what I'm doing here. See if you can guess what the piece is. So, if you recognize that piece, let me know in the comments below. I don't want to spoil it here. Anyway, I finished up my spot checking of that piece, and I did a little bit more work on Bruckner, though I'm going to do more yet once I get to the hall and I'm warming up on stage. But for now, it's time to get dressed. Tonight's concert is part of our classical series, which in our case means that it's our most involved dress code. So I better get to work. We'll start off with a tux shirt, which may seem uncomfortable, but I have a great one from Korigami, who does not sponsor me, but I kind of wish they did. And it's specifically designed for musicians to wear in performance. It's stretchy, roomy, and soft, and it looks good. Next up, bow tie time, baby. White for classical, black for pops. But we reverse jacket colors too. So black jacket for classical, white jacket for pops. Suspenders, you're up. Not part of the requirements for our dress code, but very helpful indeed. Some might say I have a vested interest in this concert. Oh, terrible joke, but white vest time. And last up, old Ben's trusty tails jacket. Jackets that I use for performances, I generally like to buy one size up so that I have a little bit of extra room in there to move around, because you want to be comfortable while you're playing. And I guess wearing shoes wouldn't be a bad idea either. Alright, I'm gonna go to work. I'm not gonna film any more for now, because all you're gonna see is the same stuff as before, me walking from my car into work and things like that, just with a different outfit. But I will check in with you after the performance. All done. Sorry, I know there is a lot of footage of me walking here, but hey, it helps tell the story that I'm going somewhere. At least I've switched from my sporty rehearsal kicks into something more formal. Anyway, it was a great concert with a lot of emotional music making, and the audience loved it, so I'm happy that I'm capping off a great cello day that way. For now though, time to head home and hang out with a couple of friends at my apartment. So I'm gonna sign off for now, but I do hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit about a day in the life of a professional cellist. Comment your thoughts below, and I'd be honored if you'd hit the thumbs up button and give a sub to the channel. And if you're an adult who wants to start cello, even if you have no musical training at all, make sure to join me on Udemy at the link in the description or by going to celloben.com/course.